Alright, Oval fans, let's talk about last night's episode, Season 2, Episode 17, entitled Body Parts. Now, this particular episode, I think it was more of, this was definitely not filler per se, but more of a setup of things to come. Now, remember, we only have, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, I believe 5 more episodes left before the season comes to a close. And I think last week's episode, I would probably say, was more entertaining, while this episode seemed to be more informative and, like I just said, set up for what's to come. Like I believe General Martin was the quote-unquote MacGuffin, not item, but person, the one who might be the key of various characters meeting up in the near future. So, just to say that last week, if I remember correctly, I think I gave the episode a 10 out of 10. This one I would give a solid 8 or an 8.5 out of 10. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Hunter basically is carrying on like he did last week. He's just a child who's apparently proud of himself because of the first successful drone strike. The entire time he's just gushing like a little kid, in regards to, wow, this is the side of the drone attack. Okay, this is awesome. Debris everywhere, people looking around. This is insane. So Lily is questioning, when all this happened, because obviously she had spoken to Bobby on the phone. So to actually go to this site and then say, whoa, what's going on here? Everything's gone. She's wondering, did she talk to Bobby prior to or after the drone strike? Afterwards, Hunter is talking with Kyle about examining, because things were so, I guess you could say, so well destructed. I don't know. Basically, the explosion was so big and the drone strike was so accurate that there's apparently nothing left. It's gotten to the point where they would have to do like DNA searching just to see if there are any remains left. And he's going on about seeing body parts and everything, but Lily doesn't want to go. I mean, Hunter's just not even questioning, whoa, Lily, I didn't even know you were going to be here, this is awesome, isn't it? So he goes with like Ellie just to go around the site, and Donald and Kyle are like, sir, this is an open area, it's not really a good idea for you to be out in the open like this. But again, Hunter wants to see his the fruits of his quote-unquote spectacular labor. He's basically like a child who just made first boom and he wants his parents to see it. So before leaving, he just wants to flaunt his power to Ellie. Hey, let's take a selfie. And I believe there's a kind of a debate between Donald and Hunter along with Kyle in regards to Hunter wanting to ride in the limo with the Beast with Ellie exclusively. But then Donald's like, no, sir, I should ride too, or she should be in another vehicle, because when we get back to the White House, press is going to be there. And it's not going to be a good look for you to get out of the limo with just Ellie, and it's not the First Lady. But Hunter doesn't want to hear it, and then Kyle pretty much jumps in. And I just love the fact that, Kyle kind of takes over, but it's only in the fit of jealousy. We all know why, because Hunter's like, go ride with your wife. And then Donald's just like, what? And then Kyle jumps in the same vein of, but yeah, go ride with your wife. But then Donald snaps at Kyle because your little boy, in reference to Dale showing up at the White House. And then, of course, Dale is just being used as a pawn in this back and forth between Kyle and Donald, because out of jealousy, you're still with your wife? Well, don't be worried who I'm playing with too. So he can come around the White House anytime he wants to, and you got your wife waiting in the car for you, just like he's waiting in this truck for me when I get home. So, Donald goes on to say he better not show up there again. And then he said, I will have you fired, Kyle. Sir, that won't happen. Watch me. We're in this too tight together. Basically, I agree. Donald can threaten Kyle all he wants to, but Kyle has so much on Donald that, it won't work. Unless he's like killed, let's say if Max had killed Kyle like he originally planned, then I don't think there's anything Kyle can do to Donald. Donald can do to Kyle without, Kyle having an explosive aftermath. Basically, killing Kyle or firing him won't be something Donald can do unless there's some backlash given to him, because like he said, those two are too close knit together, no pun intended. So after that, We go over to Hunter basically trying to persuade Ellie to bang him in the back of the, limo. And of course, you got the driver and Kyle in the front seat, but Hunter doesn't give a crap. He just doesn't care at all. Hey, I'm the president. I'm powerful. You need to embrace the fact that you're effing the president of the United States. So he's basically, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but just a small child. He's like a little boy who's trying to flaunt his power in order to get what he wants. But Ellie makes it known, I'm not your whore. I'm not your skank. He even calls her a bitch. But I'm not saying I don't like the character of Ellie. I'm just wondering what the end game is here. Because to be honest, I thought when Victoria exposed the underwear trick that Ellie had, that, well, it was kind of over. And then, the next day where she goes into the Oval to basically flaunt to Hunter about how you shouldn't underestimate me because what, you just think I'm someone to sleep with and dispose of? Nuh-uh. And at that point, Hunter was dismissive of her, and I thought, yeah, this is great. Let's see Ellie get kicked to the curb. But now, all of a sudden, Hunter is... If they're trying to play this game in the same way that, let's say, Jim and Candace were playing, or to a lesser extent, maybe Charles and Candace on the haves and have-nots, I don't think it's working because I don't feel that invested. I just feel like at this point, Ellie's trying to prove her... I guess you could say power in this situation, but at the same time, I'm not your whore, but it's like your actions haven't been speaking non-whorish behavior. I don't even know if that makes any sense, but if you follow me, I'm basically saying that Ellie has been literally doing whorish Monica Lewinsky things, yet she doesn't want to be treated as such, despite the fact she tried the underhanded tactic of the underwear thing to be used against Hunter and came up with that stupid lie about, I just wanted something to remember you by and yada yada yada, when we all know it's DNA. And I'm not buying it. I don't really know. I mean, let me wait till the end of the season, but I just don't see where they're going with this particular storyline for it to make sense. But I don't know. But in any case, let's see here. We go over to Lily and Donald in their own vehicle. And, basically he's trying to get the information out of Lily. Like, what were you doing there at the cabin? What were you looking for? And it's like, oh, where'd you park? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. You had to park your car away. You must have learned a thing or two from him. And he basically goes in on her, gloating pretty much in the same vein that Hunter was to Ellie, but for different reasons, about the drone strike. Yeah, your little boyfriend, he's blown to pieces, and, makes some jabs like, yeah, Lily wants to get the hell out of there, but, Donald's like, this is a presidential entourage. There are no pit stops. So basically, there won't be any stops until they arrive at their destination, which is the White House. But when they get there, Lily's going to be scooped away because there's no way she's going to be seen in public in that outfit. According to Donald, which is funny because, oh, wow, okay, this doesn't do it for you, but no, anything I put on never did it for you, huh, Donald? And it's like, yeah, you talk about Bobby being blown to pieces, but every piece of him was bigger than yours. And it's just funny to me that Donald and Hunter are both so secure that they did the job, when we as an audience, and Lily soon enough will know, nope, you didn't do anything but make a news report over nothing, which proves Victoria was right the entire time. But then again, when hasn't she been right about most things? So I think the biggest part of this scene, in my opinion, was the fact that Lily felt trapped because Bobby was her ticket out of this life. But without him, she's pretty much stuck in hell, and that's a lot to take in. And remember, this is prior to her calling Bobby again, but I really do think that the acting in this scene by Lily was really good, because can you imagine if you figured out a way to get out of your current situation in life, but then the person or thing that would have helped you get out of it ended up being destroyed? But to be completely honest, even let's say Bobby and Max were both killed, Lily really did this to herself by being so damn reckless, by having Bobby come over to the house and, getting caught by Donald and everything. It was just stupid. So, I mean, yeah, at first I would have felt bad, but then in retrospect, basically there's the difference between when I was watching the episode, when I was reading over my notes before doing the video, and I thought, yeah, Lily really dropped the ball here. All right, so then we go over to Max and Blakely. She's, cooking food on the grill. He has a, bucket with some ice and, some beer, and they pretty much just talk about the entire situation. Blakely, obviously, remember, Max caught her up on everything off screen when he was in the bathtub last week, and Blakely's literally trying to contemplate it all because it's a lot to take in. I mean, literally, imagine if, I feel like Blakely is somebody who's never seen The Oval, and Max is the person who's seen every single episode. So they have a sit down and he explains everything that's happened up until that point in the series. And Blakely's like, damn, decapitation, rape, strangling, adult affairs in the White House, cults. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to think clearly either if I heard all that in one sitting. But in any case, she thinks that, of course, wow, this is a deep operation. So at this point, the only person I think we can trust is General Martin, and his name comes up a couple times in the episode. And at first glance, I'm like, oh damn, are people who I talked with last week right? Could Blakely be trusted? Who's this General Mark? It seems like somebody that is a loose cannon, because remember, she said this is the only person she trusts, and what if this only person she trusts really can't be trusted by us? Well, Max and Bobby. But in any case, their main strategy is to gather up all the information they can, due to the fact that that's their best bet at, making it out of this alive. And also, she asks, wait, why did you come to me about this anyway? Well, you were my only option. Is that the only reason? And I think we all know what that means. Feelings. All right, so, oh, sorry. That was the end of page one of my notes, because I got like almost 3 pages of notes because a lot of stuff happened, actually. All right, so we go to the truck. Richard and Sharon are in the front, Dale's in the back, and they're going to the compound. As they're driving, Richard asked a bit about the compound in regards to, so what have you heard about the Rakadushi? And he doesn't want to talk rumors, but he has heard about things like human trafficking, people missing, and them not really being a safe bunch of people to be around. And the fact that, shouldn't we go to the sheriff's office first? What do you mean, sheriffs? Are they dangerous? And then, of course, that's when Dale talks about what he does know. And for some reason, Richard decides not to do it. And as they're driving, he explains why Barry got abducted. And Dale's like, wow, he sounds like a good father. Yeah, he is. Isn't he, Sharon? Yeah, he is. They're like, well, what's that face for? Nothing, Mr. Richard. I just, I'm hoping he's okay. And then, I love what Dale said about, with everything's been going around here, little hope is something to stand on. Basically, a little hope won't hurt anybody. And I love how Richard kind of looks over at Sharon and then, brings up the fact that this generation, I don't feel like he was talking down to her, but he was making a good point that, this current generation doesn't have as much faith in God and whatnot as his generation because of the fact that a lot of them don't really go to church. And Dale brings up the fact that, he has a checkered relationship with the church, but mainly due to being gay and his parents not liking it. And his parents said some god awful things to him, like, no pun intended, or using the Lord's name in vain there, my bad. Some gosh darn awful things about him, like, being gay, and I wish you would have been born earlier, that way you could have died due to AIDS, because that was a disease to wipe out the gays. And let me just say this much. As someone who's a Christian and not gay, I don't, this is how I feel about what Richard said. I honestly felt in the 2 minutes or less that Richard spoke to Dale, I feel like that was a more positive message than what the haves and the have-nots did during, and I'm going to be honest here, the show came back on June 1st. And in June, there were, 4 or 5 episodes? Hang on, let me check. I forgot how many Tuesdays were in the month of June. 5, actually. And, from Veronica going to the gay club, to, well, honestly, I don't know that episode. Yeah, I think that episode was in the month of June. I could be wrong. Basically, that episode, the Colby getting beaten up episode, Madison talking to Jeffrey about, diseases for unprotected sex and whatnot. I just feel like they really tried to shoehorn in homosexuality themes within the Pride Month in the haves and the have-nots, and it just felt like we were being beaten over the head with it. But I feel like regardless if you're gay or straight, I think what Richard said was pretty good in regards to focus on how God sees you, not how man sees you. And that's really all that matters. And I feel like that was a very positive message. You know, God doesn't like hatred. I feel like that's regardless of sexuality, race, gender, this or that, where you're from. I really like that. I feel like that was a more powerful message given in 2 minutes or less than shoehorning themes and overly exaggerated gay characters in other shows. So in my opinion, that's how I felt about the scene. Like, I get it if you disagree because, about how certain things that are quote unquote politically correct in today's time is spoken against in the Bible. So there's that. Don't worry, I can completely understand that. But I feel like in regards to being someone who is a Christ follower and being kind to those who don't live the lifestyle per se that is approved of in the Bible, I think Richard did a good job of embracing Dale in love. And I feel like that really was a standout scene in the episode because it sounded to me like Richard spoke more kindness into Dale's life and his choices than his parents ever did when he was still in Rockwell, Virginia. Keep that in mind. All right, so after that, let's see here. It was funny. It's like, well, I hope God meets us at the front gate then, because I don't want to go up there alone without the sheriff. That was pretty funny. Because I'm wondering, wow, they stopped at the sheriff's office. I wonder if Brian would have been there. I doubt it because he rarely stays up there to work late at night. Not to mention in Ruthless, the sheriff kind of kicked him to the curb, so I don't really know. But, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But we go over to Nancy's house, and Miss Jody is standing out on the porch, and she calls Nancy, basically saying, "Hey, Priscilla, she's been sitting in her car for a while. At first, I thought she was on the phone, but she don't look okay." So Nancy's like, "Okay, I'll get her. I'll get her." And I'm like, "Okay, I guess her and Miss Jody are kind of on better terms than they were the last couple episodes." So Nancy calls Priscilla and then says, "Hey, come on in. How you know I was out here?" Look who's on the porch. So Priscilla gets out of the car and, she kind of drags herself down the sidewalk and, Miss Jody's like, "Hey, Priscilla, how you doing?" "Hey, I'm doing all right." "Yeah, it looks like I just had a long day." "Oh, you looking out of it, girl." And I'm like, I will say Miss Jody is probably one of the most well-crafted characters in Tyler Perry's creations because of the fact that I feel like we all know a Miss Jody in our lives, or old neighborhood, one of your parents or auntie's friends, that nosy neighbor, and it's just hilarious how accurately she's written to real people in real life. So from there, she's like, "Well, you need anything? Some coffee? Anything?" No, we good, Miss Jody." So they go into the house, and I love how Nancy just kind of puts her foot down, like, "Priscilla, I know there's certain things you can't tell me, you and Richard, about what goes on in the White House, but what's going on with you?" Because Priscilla started off asking about Nancy and what's going on with Richard, and it's like, "Well, he's still not really talking to me." And it's like, "Well, yeah, you really dropped a bomb on him." It's like, "I know." And it's like, yeah, it's not even been barely 24 hours since you told him about the whole, "Hey, I willingly effed your dad and had a son." So that's not really something you can get over in like less than 24 hours. So, and I've seen some comments that are very valid in the fact that Nancy doesn't seem all that concerned about her son being gone for almost a day and her grandbaby being gone. It's like it feels like I think I can agree with fans when it seems like Nancy is focusing on the wrong things right now. So, and I understand she did lose her son, Picky, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, shouldn't you try to take care of the people in your life who are still alive? Not to speak ill of the dead, but I'm just saying. So basically, Priscilla does cave in and say Sam's having an affair with one of his co-workers who's an agent, and somebody recorded it because they wanted me to see it, because that's how I saw the video. Remember, she did not say First Lady. She wants to say, "I just want to hurt him. I just want to hurt her." And from there, she mentions General Martin again, just like Blakely, and the fact that that's the only person to trust. And Nancy warns her to be careful due to the fact that there have been times where I've wanted to speak with him myself, but Richard, I tried that one time. Richard was mad because of the fact that apparently General Martin was so respected and so powerful that, you know, anybody who served under him, Sam, Richard, they want to be looked at as heroes by him. So I guess if their wives or anybody they know came to General Martin with any kind of discrepancy in their character, he could use it to destroy their reputation. I think that's what it referred to. I watched the scene a couple times, and I will be doing a video on General Martin, but that's what I got from it. Basically, you know of General Martin, but you don't know General Martin. Like, you know, you don't speak to him about nothing. So there's that. But basically, you know, it's a fact that this guy is apparently so powerful and his moves are so silent that he has the ability to take something and ruin your career with it. So just like Nancy said, just be careful and think twice, because once you put something out there, it's out there. All right, so Lily gets home and she immediately calls Bobby. I mean, literally, I cannot stop making the comparison of Whitney and Bobby. Bobby, where are you, Bobby? So she calls Bobby and it's like, oh my God, I thought you were dead. And she talks about how I went to the cabin, it was destroyed, and the president was there. You know, he ordered the drone strike. He was gloating, taking pictures and everything. And it's like, look, I'll send you a picture. And Bobby's like, no, don't send a picture, because obviously that'll probably be used to trace him on the phone. And before the conversation go further, I honestly thought it was Donald doing this, but no, Blakely was the one who was canceling the signal, and the phone died. Well, the call died, and Blakely popped in and said, no more phones. Okay, fine. So then we go over to Victoria, watching Jason, who's watching TV. And Jason, it's kind of weird how normal they try to make the dynamic between these two, even though he's a freaking serial killer. But Victoria's like, aren't you supposed to be in therapy? Nah, I'm tired of therapy. I'm trying to get her to leave, basically trying to creep her out into the point that she gives up. But Victoria's like, you know what, you need to go to your room. What are you doing? But Hunter's on TV, and basically Jason's trying to point out the fact that, hey, there was this surprise thing going on. Basically trying to recap to Victoria the situation about this trip, but she already knows Donald arranged it. It wasn't on the schedule, but he makes it clear, do you know that the press secretary is there hugged up with him on TV? Do you think this could be the one who to replace you? Victoria doesn't want to hear it. Basically, the more Jason points out the obvious, the more Victoria says you need to go to your room before she's called Hot Breath First Lady. And then, you know, I love the fact that Jason leaves and then she checks her breath. It reminds me of house parties like Bilal, Dragon Breath Bilal, and then every time somebody says somebody's breath, he checks it. So, last page of notes here. Jason calls up Alan on the phone, and he tries to keep it professional and basically says, did you see Ellie? Did you see your girlfriend on the TV with my dad? And he's about, well, if you don't need anything, sir, I'm going to hang up. Do you want to keep your job? Well, I'm not worried about the job. Are you threatening me? Well, I'm the first son. Well, you better not hang up on me, because basically he was going to send him, like, you know, the picture or the clip from the news report about them on TV. And Alan just hangs up like, you MFer. So then we go over to the Rakadooshi Gate, and I think, what was it, Mandy, right? That was the name of the main guard who, quote unquote, greeted Richard, because Richard has the truck running. I think, you know, Dale and Sharon are still in there, and he goes up to the gate basically explaining, hey, I'm Richard Holson, and I'm looking for my son Barry. What about Ruth? Callie? But, you know, and the guard is basically, you know, I don't know who you're talking about. He, you know, Richard called himself before he fully said group. And I just love the fact that you know, Richard, well, no, I didn't love it. I thought it was pretty dumb. Okay, so Richard doesn't talk to Sam about the information that Sharon gave. He doesn't talk to the sheriff. He goes to the compound with a pregnant girl and just a random dude from the pharmacy. These people have guns, and you think it's a smart idea to, quote unquote, threaten them with the white man's government, as they said. It's like, whoa, you talking about you work for the White House, his godfather is Secret Service, and if you leave now, you're going to come back with reinforcements, you're threatening me with the white man's government? Richard should have just gotten that truck and left, but no. As soon as he does leave, that's when Daikon comes out overhearing it. It's like, that does not sound good. The highest won't like that. And I just love the fact that they're name dropping ruthless characters, but I'm pissed off we haven't seen anybody. So essentially the plan is to get Callie and Barry out of the compound and talk to Ruth about it too. And from there, Daikon gets a couple of the boys and they go get the van. And I'll just skip to that part real quick because there's only 2 more scenes to talk about before the ending. So as they're driving away from the compound, Richard's asking if Dale and Sharon have their seatbelts on. They're like, yeah, what's going on? They're coming up on us fast. And then the van rams them in the back. The truck flies up from the back, does a couple flips, and the Raku van drives off into the distance. And that was one hell of a cliffhanger. So then the other couple scenes is Victoria going to Alan's office trying to get any sort of answers or any kind of itinerary about the surprise trip that was taken earlier today. And, he doesn't know about, he knows the policy isn't to show because of Donald, Hunter, and whatnot. And she pretty much says, look, stop saying ma'am. I think that's just funny every time somebody brings it up because I feel like that's speaking to the audience. All you do is say ma'am and sir. And he pretty much gets it in the face, if you will, that Ellie is with the president. Look, I know that little girl, your little girlfriend or whatever, is with my husband. You need to keep her away from him. And, Alan's like, I don't know what you're talking about, because Alan knows the less you know, the better. Kind of like, when he accidentally walked in on Kyle and Donald kissing. But in any case, he just gets chewed out by Victoria and she leaves because she can't find anything on his desk. Then we go over to Bobby and Max. The fact that Bobby has the track phone and Max like, how the hell do you have the phone? It's like, well, I grabbed one of them before the explosion and I was talking with Lily. What? But Blakely scrambled the signal. Good. You shouldn't call her or trust her anyway. So what did she at least say? Basically the fact that the president was gloating about the drone strike and everything, and they need to look for DNA just to even make sure there was something left from the explosion, which I do believe they'll find the DNA due to the fact that remember, after they got blown out of the cabin, they were underneath some rubble. So I'm pretty sure, skin cells and whatnot will be there. So I guess the DNA could be used to determine that they were, quote unquote, blown to bits because of the fact that if there were no remains left, but there's DNA, like they said, we had the element of surprise. And Bobby brings up the fact that, well, we had to assassinate the president, but Max is like, hey, that will be our last option because we don't want to be put in the electric chair. Well, hey, we won't get caught. We're smarter than them, which I don't disagree with, but they are men and the feelings get involved with women, then that could be bad, with Bobby and Lily. And as he brings up, what about you and Blakely? What about it? What are you talking about? No, I don't want her. I'm just saying that I see the way she looks at you and, well, I don't know, man. So Max takes away the tracker phone to make sure there's no way of communication. So I don't know the next time Lily will be able to contact Bobby or when they'll even see each other, due to the fact that she has no idea where Bobby and Max are at the moment, which could be for the better. So it seems like things are definitely going to be driving towards this General Martin in the near future, whether it be a situation where Priscilla, Max, Bobby, and Blakely all go together, because of the fact that Priscilla has everything in that package that Diane gave her to bring down the administration. And then of course you have living witnesses in the form of Bobby and Max in regards to Kyle. So we'll just have to wait and see. But overall, I think this was a pretty decent episode. And with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree with my score of an 8.5 or an 8 out of 10? Do you think it should be higher or lower? And with that being said, I will talk to you in the next video.